Emotions are fleeting shadows. Strategy is the eternal light. The poor chase after shadows and stumble. The rich follow the light, shaping their destiny with clarity and purpose. Every outcome in your life is the harvest of your yesterday's thoughts and decisions. The poor sow emotions, fear, haste, doubt, and reap struggle. The wealthy sow strategy, planning, patience, clarity, and reap freedom. Change your thinking, and you will change your world. You see, emotions are fast. Fear is fast. Doubt is fast. Excuses, lightning fast. But wealth moves slow. Wealth demands thought. The wealthy don't chase every feeling, they build strategy. While others react, they design. While others panic, they plan. While others spend, they invest. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. The wealthy feel fear too. They face failure too. But they've built a habit poor thinkers avoid: emotional discipline. While others crumble under pressure, the wealthy pause, think, adjust, act. Feelings scream, wisdom whispers. The ones who listen to wisdom, they're the ones wealth follows. So today, we're going to peel back the layers of your thinking. We'll expose the emotional traps that keep people broke and lay out the strategic blueprint the wealthy use to build, protect, and grow their fortunes. Because until your thinking shifts, your bank account never will. But once your mind learns to lead, your life and your wealth will follow. When we begin to measure our worth by the balance in our bank accounts, we step onto a slippery slope that leads nowhere but dissatisfaction. Too many people believe that how much money they have directly reflects who they are as a person. But that's a trap that robs you of your true value and the potential for real wealth. The moment you treat money as your identity, you hand over your power to external circumstances, which are always shifting and unpredictable. One day the money might flow and the next it might dry up. If your self-worth rises and falls with those tides, you're on a roller coaster that never finds peace. I've learned this truth through my own journey, watching many around me who chased money like a trophy, only to find emptiness at the finish line. What truly measures your worth isn't your paycheck or the possessions you accumulate. It's your character, the integrity you maintain when no one is watching, the virtues you live by, and the discipline you exercise every single day. These are the real currencies of a meaningful and prosperous life. When you focus on building character, you're investing in something that compounds, something that grows stronger even when the market falters. Virtue like honesty, generosity, patience, and responsibility builds trust, and trust is the foundation of all lasting success. Discipline is the engine that keeps you moving forward, even when the excitement fades or obstacles appear. When these qualities govern your life, money becomes a natural byproduct of who you are, not a measure of who you think you should be. Think about it like this. If you wake up every morning determined to be a person of value, someone who fulfills promises, who learns continuously, who works hard, and treats others with respect, the money will follow. But if you wake up chasing numbers and trying to prove your worth by your financial statement, you're likely to burn out, lose perspective, and fall into traps like debt, anxiety, and unwise decisions. I remember early in my career, when money was scarce, and I questioned my own potential because of it. But I realized something profound. My worth wasn't in those dollars, it was in my commitment to grow, to learn, and to act with integrity. That shift in mindset made all the difference. I stopped measuring success by my bank balance and started measuring it by how I showed up each day. The money came later, naturally, as a reward for the value I created. This is the secret many wealthy people understand, but few articulate. Wealth without character is fragile and fleeting. It can vanish as quickly as it arrives. But when character leads, wealth lasts because it is built on solid ground. You become someone others want to do business with, someone who can navigate the ups and downs without losing faith or direction. So, if you find yourself tying your self-esteem to your paycheck, stop right there. Remind yourself that the true measure of your worth is far deeper. It's in the choices you make when no one's watching, in the discipline you show when things get tough, and in the virtues you nurture every day. When you make that shift, money stops being the master and becomes a servant, a tool to build the life and legacy you desire. In the end, character, virtue, and discipline are not just noble ideals, they're practical, measurable forces that create real, lasting wealth. And when you live by them, you don't just become wealthy, you become rich in a way that no amount of money can buy. That's the foundation of true success. One of the most powerful forces in building wealth isn't flashy, it isn't instant, and it certainly doesn't care about your current bank balance. It's the quiet, steady power of compound interest. This concept, simple as it may seem, holds the secret to turning modest efforts into lasting financial freedom. Yet many overlook it, chasing after quick wins or instant riches, missing out on what's truly transformative. The principle is straightforward. Start early, save consistently, and invest wisely. When you put your money to work and allow the returns to earn their own returns, the growth isn't linear, it's exponential. The money you save today, if left untouched and given time, can multiply remarkably. This is the miracle that Albert Einstein reportedly called the eighth wonder of the world, and for good reason. Imagine planting a small seed in fertile soil. At first, it's barely noticeable, just a tiny sprout breaking through the ground. But over time, it grows into a mighty tree, spreading branches and bearing fruit year after year. Compound interest works the same way. Early in your financial life, the numbers might seem small, the growth slow, but if you keep watering your seed with consistent savings and smart investments, it grows stronger and faster with every passing year. One of the greatest lessons I learned was the power of starting before you feel ready. When I began, my resources were limited, but I knew the value of making the first move. Even a small regular contribution can snowball over time. It's not the size of your initial investment, but the length of time you allow it to grow that counts most. Consistency is key. The wealthy don't try to time the market or chase after the next big thing. They stick with their plan, adding a little bit regularly, regardless of market ups and downs. This habit builds discipline and removes the emotional roller coaster from investing decisions. When you commit to this disciplined approach, you don't just accumulate money, you build confidence and peace of mind. Wise investing means more than just putting money in a bank account. It means educating yourself about different investment vehicles, understanding risks, and choosing opportunities that align with your goals and risk tolerance. It's not about gambling or speculating. It's about strategic decisions that support long-term growth. Remember, time is your greatest ally in this process. The earlier you start, the more you benefit from compounding. Delaying this habit is like planting a tree. Years from now, you lose precious years of growth. Don't let procrastination rob you of the wealth that could be yours. Even if you start late, it's better to start now than never. Throughout my years, I've seen countless stories where small, steady investments led to freedom and opportunity. One individual I worked with began investing the same amount a day as the cost of a cup of coffee. Over decades, those small contributions accumulated into a sizable nest egg that allowed retirement without worry. The secret wasn't magic, it was compound interest and the discipline to stay the course. This principle applies beyond money. Compound interest is a metaphor for habits, knowledge, relationships, and even personal growth. Small, consistent efforts, repeated daily multiply into remarkable results over time. So, when it comes to wealth, start early, save consistently, invest wisely, and let compound interest do the heavy lifting for you. In the end, wealth built through compound interest is a testament to patience, discipline, and strategic action. It reminds us that time, when respected and used wisely, can turn humble beginnings into grand legacies. Begin today and trust the process, because in the quiet growth of compound interest lies the true secret to lasting wealth. One of the most overlooked yet powerful influences on our financial success isn't found in books, courses, or even the latest market trends. It's found in the company we keep. You see, the people around us shape our thoughts, our beliefs, and ultimately our destiny. When it comes to money and wealth, spending time with those who justify poverty, who accept scarcity as normal or inevitable, is a silent killer of ambition and growth. I've witnessed this many times. People who want better lives, but surround themselves with voices that whisper, "That's just how it is," or "We don't have what it takes," or "It's too hard to change." These words might seem harmless, but repeated daily, they become the chains that bind. The mind absorbs these narratives and turns them into reality. If you listen long enough, your mindset adjusts and suddenly the ceiling of your financial potential lowers. The fix is simple but not always easy. Surround yourself with those who seek wisdom, discipline, and growth. Wealthy thinking isn't a solo journey. It's a culture, a mindset reinforced by peers who challenge you, inspire you, and hold you accountable. When you associate with people who are hungry to learn, who value hard work and persistence, their energy becomes contagious. I remember early in my career, I was fortunate to find mentors who didn't just talk about success, they lived it. Their habits, their perspectives, their resilience shaped my own approach. They didn't tolerate excuses or justifications for poverty. Instead, they spoke about opportunity, responsibility, and the power of disciplined effort. It wasn't always comfortable. Sometimes it meant leaving old friendships behind or declining invitations to engage in talk that felt limiting. But that discomfort was necessary. It was the price of growth. When you immerse yourself in an environment where wisdom is pursued daily, you begin to see your own potential clearly. You start to believe that more is possible, not just financially, but in character and contribution. Discipline becomes a shared value, and growth is expected, not optional. This kind of environment challenges poverty thinking at its core. Practical steps are essential. Seek out books, seminars, podcasts, and conversations that elevate your thinking. Join groups or communities focused on personal development and financial education. Don't just look for comfort. Look for challenge. Engage with those who push you to think differently and act deliberately. It's these relationships and influences that form the foundation of lasting wealth. This principle holds true beyond finances. Your health, your relationships, your happiness, they all respond to the company you keep. When you nurture a circle that celebrates growth and rejects poverty thinking, you create a fertile ground for success in every area. So, if you find yourself stuck, struggling to move beyond financial limitations, take a hard look at your surroundings. Are the voices around you lifting you up or holding you down? Are they speaking words of limitation or possibility? The wealthiest people I've known are not just lucky with money. They are intentional about who they let influence their minds and their lives. Remember, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with those who inspire discipline, who embody wisdom, and who pursue growth relentlessly. When you do, you'll find your mindset shifting, your actions aligning, and your financial journey accelerating. It's not just about money, it's about changing the narrative inside your head. And that change starts with the company you keep. Choose to be around those who see abundance where others see lack, and you will find yourself walking the path of true wealth. One of the most common traps that trip up those striving for financial success is confusing activity with productivity. It's easy to fall into the habit of keeping busy, filling every minute with tasks and mistaking that busyness for progress. But the truth is, activity without direction or purpose is like spinning wheels in the mud. You're exerting effort but not moving forward. I've seen this countless times in my own life and the lives of others. People work hard, but they don't work smart. They check off a long list of chores, meetings, and errands, but miss the bigger picture, the actual results that build wealth and change lives. The poor thinker often believes that being busy equals being successful, but the wealthy understand that only focused, intentional work creates value. The fix here is simple, but requires discipline. Focus on results, not just activity. When you work, do so with a clear goal in mind. Ask yourself, what outcome am I trying to achieve? This mindset shift moves you from being reactive responding to whatever lands on your desk or screen to being proactive and strategic about where you invest your time. In my early days, I was guilty of this mistake. I filled my schedule with activities that felt productive but didn't push me closer to my goal. I would attend endless meetings, reply to countless emails, and jump between projects without finishing one. It was exhausting but unproductive. The turning point came when I began measuring my day not by how busy I was, but by what I accomplished that moved me toward my dreams. The wealthy don't get caught in the trap of busyness. They design their days around priorities that produce results. They start by identifying the few critical tasks that will have the biggest impact on their progress, often called high-leverage activities. These might be making sales calls, closing deals, learning a new skill, or improving their mindset through reading and reflection. To practice this, begin each day by writing down your top 3 priority tasks that, if completed, will bring you closer to your financial goals. Then guard your time fiercely. Say no to distractions and low-value activities. Don't confuse urgent with important. The urgent might scream for your attention, but the important is what builds your future. It's also crucial to review your results regularly. Ask yourself, did the work I did today bring me closer to my goals? If not, adjust. Learn to cut out what doesn't contribute to your progress. Sometimes less is more. Focus on quality, not quantity. Remember, productivity is a discipline, not a feeling. It's about making deliberate choices about where you put your energy. Busyness may make you feel important, but productivity makes you wealthy. One practical habit is time blocking, dedicating specific hours to focused work without interruption. Another is batching similar tasks together to maintain momentum. Use tools or simple lists to track progress and hold yourself accountable. Success doesn't come from doing many things, it comes from doing the right things consistently. It's the difference between running in circles and running toward a clear finish line. The wealthy know this well. They don't just work hard, they work smart. Their work is intentional, purposeful, and aligned with their goals. So if you find yourself overwhelmed by busyness, but feeling stuck financially, it's time to change your approach. Stop glorifying activity and start honoring productivity. Work with intention. Measure your efforts by the results they produce. Because in the end, wealth isn't built on how busy you were. It's built on what you accomplished. Make your work count every single day. Risk is often misunderstood. Many see it as something to fear, a threat to be avoided at all costs. But the truth is, risk is an essential ingredient in the recipe for growth and wealth. Without risk, there is no progress. Without risk, there is no learning. The wealthy understand this deeply. They don't gamble recklessly, but they also don't let fear paralyze them. Embracing risk means accepting that uncertainty is part of the journey. It means stepping beyond the comfortable and predictable and venturing into the space where opportunity lives. But this doesn't mean diving headfirst without preparation. The key is to start small and make calculated decisions. This builds your muscle for risk-taking without overwhelming you. Think back to when you first learned to ride a bike. You didn't throw yourself into a race immediately. You started with training wheels or had someone steady you. You practiced small balancing acts until confidence replaced fear. Building trust in your judgment works the same way in financial and personal decisions. Early in my career, I was cautious about risks. I wanted to avoid mistakes so badly, I sometimes missed opportunities. But over time, I learned the power of starting with low-stakes risks, investing a little money, trying a new sales approach, or committing to a small project. Each successful decision built my confidence, and even the mistakes taught me valuable lessons without causing catastrophic loss. One practical strategy is to list the risks you're considering and evaluate their possible outcomes. What's the worst-case scenario? Can you afford that loss? If the answer is yes, then the risk becomes manageable. Practice making these small decisions quickly rather than endlessly debating. Indecision is the enemy of progress. You can also create risk experiments. Treat certain choices like tests, try them on a small scale, learn, then adjust. This reduces pressure and keeps momentum moving forward. Remember, wealth grows when you move beyond your comfort zone. The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. Growth requires you to face uncertainty with courage and calculation. The more you practice embracing risk wisely, the more your judgment sharpens. You begin to see opportunity where others see only danger. This mindset is what separates those who stagnate from those who soar. So start today by identifying one small risk you can take, whether it's investing a bit more, learning a new skill, or pitching an idea. Take that step. Build your trust in yourself, one choice at a time. Because the path to wealth isn't paved with certainty, it's carved by those willing to take thoughtful risks and learn as they go. There's a powerful truth about wealth that many overlook. Abundance begins first in the mind. It's not just about how much you have in the bank, it's about how you see the world around you. When you train your eyes to recognize abundance, you start to attract more of it. But if your vision is clouded by scarcity, worry, or envy, then no matter how much you earn, you'll always feel like it's not enough. I learned early on that gratitude is the secret to seeing abundance everywhere. Not just gratitude for the big wins, but for the small, everyday blessings we often take for granted. The roof over our heads, the food on our plate, the people who believe in us, the opportunities we might overlook. This practice rewires your mind to focus on what you have rather than what you lack. Here's a simple, practical step you can take. Every morning before you start your day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental. Maybe it's the morning coffee, a kind word from a stranger, or the fact that you woke up with your health intact. When you do this consistently, it becomes a habit that shifts your entire perspective. Why does this matter for wealth? Because abundance is a mindset, and mindset governs your actions. When you feel abundant, you think creatively. You spot opportunities others miss. You're generous, knowing that giving doesn't diminish your own supply, but multiplies it. Your energy changes, and people are naturally drawn to that energy, creating networks and chances that open new doors. On the other hand, when scarcity rules your thinking, you make poor financial decisions out of fear. You hoard, procrastinate, or chase after quick fixes. Scarcity blinds you to the long-term view. It narrows your focus, and ironically, it limits what you can attract. I remember a time when I was struggling financially, but I committed to this daily gratitude practice. I forced myself to look beyond the immediate difficulties and find 3 things every morning to appreciate. Over time, my mood lifted, my confidence grew, and my focus sharpened. I began seeing potential where before I saw only obstacles. Gratitude is more than a feel-good exercise. It's a practical tool that rewires your brain. Neuroscience tells us that gratitude activates regions of the brain associated with reward and motivation. This biological response helps you stay motivated to take the consistent actions wealth demands. The wealthy don't just count their money, they count their blessings. And this habit makes all the difference. So, begin today. Find 3 small blessings each morning, write them down, and feel the shift. As abundance becomes your second nature, watch how your life begins to change. Because when you see abundance everywhere, you start to live as though abundance is your natural state. And when you live that way, wealth is no longer something you chase, it's something you embody. Freedom and discipline, two words that seem to stand on opposite ends of the spectrum, yet they are intimately connected in the dance of success. Most people believe discipline is about restriction, about tying yourself down and giving up freedom. But the truth is, discipline is the very gateway to freedom. Without discipline, chaos rules. Without discipline, your dreams remain distant, your potential untapped. I want you to think about this. What if the very things you believe are holding you back are actually the keys to unlocking your freedom? When you commit to discipline, you're not chaining yourself, you're creating structure. Structure frees you from indecision, from procrastination, and from the exhausting roller coaster of emotional highs and lows. It frees you to focus your energy on what truly matters. Let me give you a practical strategy to prove this to yourself. Identify one area in your life where you know discipline is lacking. It might be waking up early, managing your spending, exercising, or dedicating time to learning. Choose just one. Then commit to doing that one thing every day for 30 days. No excuses, no exceptions. That's it. At first it will feel hard. You'll face resistance from your own mind, from comfort, and maybe even from those around you. But keep going. Because as days turn into weeks, something remarkable happens. You begin to build momentum. That daily action becomes easier, almost automatic. What once felt like a chain becomes a springboard. In my own life, I remember when I committed to daily reading and reflection. It wasn't glamorous or exciting at first, but over time, that discipline shaped my thoughts, expanded my perspective, and sharpened my decision-making. I wasn't limited by a lack of knowledge or clarity anymore. I was free to pursue bigger goals with confidence. Discipline trains your mind and body to work with purpose, to resist distractions, and to prioritize long-term gain over short-term pleasure. That's how you break free from the cycle of frustration and stagnation. Remember, freedom isn't the absence of constraints, it's the ability to choose your constraints wisely. When you create positive habits, you design a life where your time, energy, and resources serve you, not the other way around. So, take that one area where you want change. Commit to 30 days of discipline. Watch as constraints transform into freedom and limitations become stepping stones. This is the paradox of success. Only through discipline do you find true liberty. Begin today. The freedom you seek is waiting on the other side of discipline. Worth is a word that often gets tangled up with money. We live in a world that loudly declares your value by the size of your paycheck, the car you drive, or the number in your bank account. But real lasting worth is not something you can deposit in a bank. It's measured in the strength of your character, the wisdom you gain, and the quality of your relationships. These are the riches no market crash can erase, and no inflation can diminish. One of the most powerful tools I've ever used to keep this perspective alive is a simple journal, not for tracking dollars, but for tracking growth. Each day, I write down lessons I've learned, virtues I've strengthened, and meaningful connections I've deepened. This journal becomes a mirror reflecting your internal wealth, making what's invisible visible. Why is this so critical? Because when you measure worth solely by money, you leave yourself vulnerable to the emotional roller coaster of gains and losses. You might feel valuable one day and worthless the next, depending on your financial state. But when you measure worth by character, discipline, kindness, and knowledge, your value becomes steady, anchored in who you are rather than what you have. I remember early in my journey, I faced financial setbacks that shook me. But what kept me grounded was the confidence I had built through consistent learning and strong relationships. I realized then that my true wealth was in my ability to persevere, to keep growing, and to maintain integrity in every situation. Maintaining this journal isn't just about reflection, it's about building momentum. Each entry reminds you that progress isn't always about cash flow. Sometimes it's about showing up when you don't feel like it, keeping a promise, or learning a tough lesson. These small, often unnoticed victories compound over time into a richness far beyond money. So I challenge you, start today. Create your own journal of internal wealth. Record what you learn, how you grow, and the people who inspire and support you. Watch as your sense of worth deepens and your motivation strengthens, not because of external numbers, but because you're becoming a richer person inside. This is how you build a foundation that money alone can never shake. Your true worth, measured beyond money, is the legacy you will leave and the life you will live with pride. Every day we are faced with countless choices, some big, many small, and it's tempting to chase quick wins, instant gratification, or short-term pleasures that feel good now but offer little in lasting value. The world often tempts us with the shiny and the immediate, yet true wealth isn't built on fleeting moments. It's forged through patience, perseverance, and a vision that stretches far beyond today. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself when making any decision is, will this matter in 10 years? That simple filter can transform how you think, how you spend, and ultimately how you live. It shifts your perspective from temporary gain to enduring strength. When you think long-term, you start to see that many of the things that seem urgent are actually distractions from what truly matters. I've learned this lesson firsthand. Early in my career, it was tempting to accept every opportunity that promised quick returns. But over time, I realized that some choices, while lucrative in the moment, didn't build lasting value. Conversely, the decisions I made to invest in relationships, personal growth, and steady financial habits were the ones that compounded into real wealth. Choosing long-term strength over short-term gain isn't easy. It requires discipline to say no to impulses, patience to endure delayed rewards, and the wisdom to see beyond the noise of today. But the payoff is immense: financial security, peace of mind, and a legacy that lasts. So before you spend that money, accept that deal, or take that shortcut. Ask yourself, will this decision matter in 10 years? If the answer is no, then it's likely a detour from the path to true wealth. But if the answer is yes, then you're building something solid, a foundation that can withstand storms and grow with time. Remember, the richest people aren't those who chase momentary pleasures. They are those who choose actions that grow value steadily, patiently, and with purpose. Let that question guide you, and you'll find that wealth becomes not just a goal, but a way of thinking and living that brings fulfillment beyond measure. Life has a way of testing us, doesn't it? Every journey toward wealth and success is dotted with setbacks, unexpected challenges, failures, and disappointments that can shake our confidence and make us question our path. But here's the secret. Setbacks are not the enemy. They are the teachers in disguise. The difference between those who grow rich and those who remain stuck isn't luck or talent. It's how they respond to adversity. When a setback hits, the natural reaction is often frustration or despair. We might want to retreat or give up entirely. But if you pause long enough to reflect, you'll find that every challenge carries a lesson, sometimes hidden, sometimes glaring, but always valuable. The key is to actively seek that lesson and let it guide your next step. One practice I've found invaluable, and one I recommend, is to write down after every setback what you learned and what you will do differently because of it. This simple act turns failure into a roadmap for growth. It shifts your mindset from victimhood to empowerment. When you record the lesson, you're no longer trapped by what went wrong. You're focused on how to move forward. I remember early in my career, when a business opportunity I had invested time and money in didn't pan out. It was a tough blow, but I made it a point to analyze exactly what went wrong. Was it poor planning, inadequate research, or timing? I wrote it down, not to dwell, but to clarify. Then I committed to one specific action: improving my due diligence before any new venture. That setback became a stepping stone to smarter decisions and bigger successes. Setbacks can instruct but never defeat unless you let them. They are the refining fire that burns away doubt, builds resilience, and sharpens your judgment. The wealthiest people I know don't avoid challenges. They meet them head on, learn, and keep moving. So, the next time you face a challenge, don't rush to erase it or forget it. Instead, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Write it down. Decide what action this lesson calls for. and then act on it. That's how setbacks become the foundation for your greatest leaps forward. Remember, the path to wealth is rarely a straight line. It's a series of small recoveries, adjustments, and lessons learned. Embrace that journey, and you'll find that every setback is not a wall, but a stepping stone on your way up. Life's journey to financial freedom is rarely smooth. Challenges come, markets fluctuate, unexpected expenses arise, and sometimes your progress feels like it's stalling or even slipping backward. It's in those moments that your mindset and habits become your greatest allies. The wealthy understand something very important. Setbacks aren't dead ends. They are part of the process. They're the refining fire that sharpens your focus and determination. One of the best ways to stay on course during difficult times is to keep your financial goals front and center. Writing down your goals is the start, but reviewing them daily is what builds focus and momentum. When you remind yourself every morning why you're working so hard, whether it's financial freedom, security for your family, or leaving a legacy, you reinforce your commitment and keep distractions at bay. Tracking your progress is equally vital. I've met many who set goals but never measure their results, and that's like trying to navigate a ship without a compass. Each week or month, take the time to review your income, savings, investments, and expenses. Celebrate small wins. Did you save a bit more this month? Did you make a smart investment? Those milestones keep you motivated. And if you're off track, don't panic, adjust your plan. Flexibility is the mark of wisdom, not weakness. Patience is another secret weapon. Wealth rarely appears overnight. It grows like a tree, slowly and steadily. The wealthy learn to be patient gardeners of their finances. They know that compounding interest, disciplined saving, and thoughtful investing take time. They don't chase quick wins or gamble on get-rich-quick schemes. Instead, they focus on building something lasting. When setbacks happen, unexpected bills, market downturns, or missed opportunities, they don't abandon their goals. They review, adjust, and continue. This persistence is often what separates those who succeed from those who falter. Financial freedom isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. I recall a time when my own investments faced downturns. It was tempting to panic, sell, and cut losses. But I reminded myself of the long game and revisited my goals. That steadiness made all the difference. The markets recovered and my patient approach compounded into greater wealth over time. So, if you want to maintain financial focus through challenges, make a habit of reviewing your goals daily, tracking your progress carefully, and adjusting your actions as needed. Stay patient, trust the process, and remember setbacks are not endings. They are lessons that refine your path to true freedom. Most people choose the broad road because it's easier, more crowded, and demands less from them. But if you want to build lasting wealth, you must learn to choose the narrow path, the path of excellence. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a principle rooted deeply in success across every age and culture. Excellence requires more effort, more patience, and more discipline. It's about refusing shortcuts and easy outs, even when they seem tempting. I've seen it many times in my own life and in the lives of others. When I was starting out, it was easier to settle for what felt comfortable rather than pushing myself to improve. I'd take shortcuts on my work or avoid uncomfortable conversations. But over time, I realized that these choices only delayed my progress. The moment I committed to doing things the right way, the harder way, my results began to change. So how do you choose this narrow path today? First, be honest with yourself and identify one area where you've been taking the easy route. Maybe it's in your finances spending impulsively rather than budgeting. Maybe it's your career settling for mediocrity rather than sharpening your skills. Whatever it is, acknowledge it without judgment. This clarity is the first step. Next, commit to the harder, better path. If it's your money, start by creating and sticking to a budget, even when it feels restrictive. If it's your skills, commit to learning and practicing every day, even when it's uncomfortable. Excellence is built through these daily choices, and it's these small, consistent efforts that separate the wealthy from the rest. Choosing this path means saying no to distractions and quick fixes. It means investing in yourself, your knowledge, and your character, even when there's no immediate reward. It means understanding that excellence is a long-term game, not a quick sprint. The narrow path may be less traveled, but it's where real growth happens. It's where you build the habits, the mindset, and the discipline necessary to create lasting wealth. Remember, the road to riches isn't paved with ease, it's forged by effort, integrity, and excellence. So begin today. Identify your easy route and choose the harder, better path. This is where true success lives. It's one thing to fill your mind with knowledge, but it's an entirely different challenge to put that knowledge into action. Many people believe that just reading books, attending seminars, or watching videos will somehow automatically change their financial situation. But knowledge alone never built a fortune. It's the doing that makes all the difference. I remember early in my career, I soaked up every bit of wisdom I could find. I read books on success, money, and personal growth. I attended workshops and listened to experts. But for a long time, I was stuck. I had knowledge, but I wasn't acting on it consistently. I was hopeful, but not moving forward. Then I realized knowing what to do isn't enough. I had to do what I knew. That moment changed everything. I committed to applying what I learned one step at a time. Every idea became a task. Every lesson became a habit. When I began to take action, small successes followed, which fueled more action. It's like a fire that grows brighter with each log added. The wealthy understand this well. They know that ideas without execution are just dreams. It's the daily habits, the disciplined choices, and the consistent efforts that turn knowledge into wealth. Action creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence drives further action, and this cycle propels success forward. So how do you move from knowledge to action? Start small. Pick one idea you've learned and implement it today. Maybe it's creating a budget, making a phone call, or setting aside a small investment. Don't wait for perfect conditions or the right time. The time rarely comes. Action breeds results, and results breed belief. Remember, the biggest gap isn't between the educated and uneducated. It's between the informed and the active. Those who act on their knowledge rise. Those who only accumulate knowledge remain hopeful, watching others turn their dreams into reality. In the end, your wealth is built on what you do, not just what you know. So take that step today. Apply what you've learned and watch how your life begins to change. Action separates the wealthy from the hopeful. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want to leave you with a truth that's as simple as it is profound. Wealth isn't a matter of luck or chance. It's a result of the choices you make every single day. It's shaped by your mindset, your habits, and your willingness to take consistent action no matter how small those steps may seem. You see, the road to prosperity isn't paved with grand gestures or overnight success stories. It's built on the quiet, persistent effort of those who show up daily and do the work when no one is watching. If there's one thing I hope you take from this, it's this. Thinking clearly, working daily, growing rich slowly, and taking action daily, that's the blueprint for lasting success. The wealthy don't chase quick fixes or flashy schemes. They build their futures brick by brick, understanding that true wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. And that process begins in your mind. If you want to change your financial life, you must first change the way you think about money, effort, and discipline. Now, this is a call to action, not for tomorrow, not for next week, but for today. Start by clarifying your goal. Write it down, make it real, and review it each morning and evening. Cut out the distractions that pull you away from what matters most. Surround yourself with people who inspire growth and abundance, not those who justify scarcity. Take deliberate, focused steps each day toward your vision, no matter how small. Remember, these small actions compound over time, just like money invested wisely. Be patient with the process. Wealth doesn't happen overnight because it's more than just dollars. It's a reflection of your character, your choices, and your persistence. You will face setbacks, challenges, and moments of doubt, but those are not signals to quit. They are opportunities to learn, adjust, and grow stronger. Every successful person has faced obstacles, but the difference is they kept moving forward when others stopped. Lastly, guard your time, your energy, and your focus like a treasure. Say no to the distractions and temptations that don't serve your long-term goals. Practice discipline in your spending, in your learning, and in your daily actions. Give generously when you can, because true wealth flows through giving and creating value for others. So, I challenge you today, take control of your mindset, commit to consistent daily action, and embrace the slow, steady growth that leads to real financial freedom. Your future self will thank you for the choices you make now. Remember, it's not what you do once, but what you do daily that changes your life. Build your legacy one disciplined action at a time, and watch how your small, consistent efforts lead to extraordinary results. Now go out there, think clearly, work diligently, and take the steps needed to grow rich slowly but surely. Your journey to wealth begins with the next action you take.